We're also a larger equity owner than a typical venture fund, significantly.
What is the typical fund size of a venture studio, and what is the composition of those LPs? Because I want to come back to some of your
Yeah,
concept that you talked about, this quality first revolution and etc. I want to understand is that going back to that notion, I'm putting money in, I have an expectation that defines success. So in
sure.
this first group, the success is very different expectation of, and versus what is the expectation
Very
in these
different.
LPs in venture studios?
Yeah, a lot of venture studios, the fund size is going to be a lot smaller than what we talked about. 10, 20, 30 million is a normal operational range. We've seen 50 plus. The largest out there is about 5 billion. That's a flagship pioneering biotech studio. But the vast majority of venture studios are in 100 million or less in fund size. So their approach is a lot different. Yeah, and some of this is due to some of the drivers that you would have to have for the larger fund size. You're not making as many companies, or you're not making as many investments because you're building companies from scratch. So there's only so many companies you can build and provide enough support to that the quality remains high, right? The other extreme, venture capital, it is about making a more diversified set of investment bets, right? Because you only need one or two of them to really succeed to make the fund back and make all your investors really happy. From a venture studio perspective, yeah, that is one investment approach. Let's play the power law. From a venture studio perspective, let's make every single one of these companies successful. We're also a larger equity owner than a typical venture fund, significantly. Usually it's in the neighborhood of to 5 times more equity. That's substantial. Most venture funds, when they make an investment, if you look at Carta's data, for example, around seed, Series A, it's usually about a 20% dilution. But usually that's split across two venture funds. So each one of them is taking about a 10% position. A venture studio I think the average equity position after spin out is around 35%.